What's up, Marvelites, and welcome to a brand new episode of the MCUExchange podcast. This is episode 50. Woo!
Woo!
Yay! I'll be your host for this episode. My name is Aaron. Alongside me is Charles
What's up?
and Joe.
Hello.
Hey guys. The MCU is back after a 1 week break. Well, sort of. Assembled, premiered. But yeah, the MCU is back with their second entry in their massive Phase 4 slate, which is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yay! We've been swamped with trailers, promo spots, posters in the past few days. And it's good to finally have the first episode, the 47-minute episode, for the next entry in the Disney Plus slate of the MCU, which is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Let's talk about it. This is going to be the Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode. It's like all of it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down, the characters, the story beats, Easter eggs. Let's get right to it here. But before that, we just want to give a shout out to our listeners over at Spotify, YouTube, Anchor, Google Podcast, Breaker. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening here. And if you have any thoughts about it, about the 500% Winter Soldier, you can just join us on our Twitter and tweet about it. And let's go break down this episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Let's go. All right, guys. So, Sam and Bucky are back. And we see a world. The MC provided us another glimpse of the post-blip world here. And just want to ask your general thoughts about it. I'm gonna start with you, Joe, first, because Charles already reviewed the episode. Let's start with you, Joe. What are your thoughts about this episode? General thoughts.
General thoughts. Really good episode. A very different start to this show than, let's say, comparison to WandaVision or what we're used to with TV series nowadays. A very subtle, like, even though it has a very bombastic opening action sequence, it's surprisingly mellow and dramatic as a story, and it's really interesting, and it makes me really excited for the future episodes.
Yeah, and they have that opening, that insane action sequence with Falcon. And also they have the subtle character moments, like intimate character moments. We get to learn more about Sam and Bucky, like their personal lives. You know, Sam has nephews. Yay! Charles, how about you? General thoughts?
I like the episode. It's a very strong opening to what I think is a very nice return to form for the MCU. I know that WandaVision was like the MCU's first, I guess, puzzle box show where it was really more about the mystery and the discussion about the mystery and all the theories, predictions, and whatnot. I think this is back to the more straightforward brand of MCU that we know. And yeah, it's a very good introduction back into it. Obviously, you got the big, crazy 10-minute, 15-minute action sequence at the opening, followed by a lot of really, really good character work. So I think it's a very, very strong opening to Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, when you're watching it, you feel like you're watching a movie, because that's what I felt when I'm watching it. Like, and then when the credits rolled, like, whoa, I forgot it was a series, and and I love that Marvel did that, because the quality is the same. Of course, it's a Disney Plus series, will always be the same with the MCU movies. And it takes a step back. Like, they have time to show the different side of these heroes. They lived up to that promise, because we saw the other side of the life of Sam, the other side of life of Bucky, and it's pretty interesting because they haven't met yet, even though the show is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier in the first episode, and it's trying to build up to that to the next in the coming weeks. And just want to ask, what's your favorite moment in this episode, Joe?
My favorite moment.
Yeah.
Ooh. This might surprise, but I think my favorite moment was the bank sequence, because it was such a interesting, like, there's so many layers to that sequence when you talk about the politics that are being discussed, the way this world has changed. It was very grounded. Like these superheroes saved the world, like the galaxy, the multiverse. Sorry, we can't give you a bank loan.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting sequence, and it's just kind of, I wonder if it was also kind of like a little nod to Spider-Man 2 back in the day, which also was like one of the front runners of the superhero versus real world problems. I'm liking the direction they're taking with this franchise, and that scene was just kind of like the epitome of what I cannot wait to see more of in Disney Plus's future with Marvel.
Yeah, and that's what the movies are not trying to like portray much, because when it's long form storytelling, like you see these heroes like trying to live a life, like normal life, like us. Like that is the really good example. Like the bank scene. Like even though you save the world, you still have to abide by the rules of the bank. That you can you can't really loan. It's pretty interesting because that loan officer is trying to tell like in the past 5 years you have no income. Like I can't have any income because I was literally gone from the world. Just like what's happening there? But yeah, Charles, how about you? Before I tell mine.
My favorite was probably the Winter Soldier flashback.
Mhm.
That was very, very unexpected. Like I didn't even know it was a flashback until we actually saw Bucky burst out of that painting. I thought for a second it was like another incident that they were showing abroad, and of course, Winter Soldier starts assassinating all these people, and then holy shit, it's a fucking flashback. And of course, it leads to that very tragic moment with the Japanese dad's kid, and
Mhm.
it's another, I guess, look at one of the many skirmishes Winter Soldier had throughout the years. We know he's had a lot. We know he's assassinated a lot of people,
Mm,
and seeing him assassinate like a normal dude who just happened to be in the wrong place in the wrong time
Yeah.
is even like more harrowing to see. As opposed, like I know him killing the Starks is pretty bad, but the Starks have always been in that kind of world, a world of espionage and crazy stuff. I'm pretty sure, like if I had to, if I could bet money, I'm pretty sure that wasn't the only assassination attempt the Starks had to fucking face. But
mm.
for this dude who's like at a conference abroad, trying to get home, trying to just enter his room, and he fucking gets assassinated. Like holy shit, pretty fucking scary. Makes you wonder how many other assassinations Bucky carried out where he had to kill a bunch of people as collateral damage. Pretty scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives you another inside look at the trauma and how Bucky's really dangerous back then, and how he's making amends right now. It's a pretty interesting plot point. He has a list of people that he's trying to find, like trying to reconnect in a way that's they're helping, not helping, like for the victims it's helping, but for the other like hydropons, it's like making things right in a way.
What a
For me, my
great contrast, though,
yeah,
to the list that Steve had. That was a great touch.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Steve's list include films, right? Films, books, and stuff like that.
yeah,
Like got the
He's having
episode.
the nice life. Oh, I'll just watch some movies. I'll be caught up in no time. Bucky's like, what did I do?
yeah. Seeing Zemo's name on that list was pretty surprising. Like I still don't understand why he has to make amends with Zemo. I don't know if that's the thing with the recovery where you have to make amends or forgive your offenders or victimizers, but that was pretty weird seeing, you know, him have to like make amends with fucking Zemo, who tried to ruin his life on multiple occasions and doesn't even give a fuck. I think that's in the some of the trailers we've seen Bucky and Zemo face to face where Bucky points a gun at Zemo's face. I
Yeah,
wonder if that's the amend he's gonna make. Like he's gonna at least maybe try to kill him, but decides, you know what? I don't need to fucking kill you.
Mm.
yeah. He's a good man now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my favorite episode is all this. My favorite moment in the episode is that opening sequence. Wow, like Falcon right off the bat. You see Falcon against the returning George St. Pierre, Batroc the
Yeah.
Leaper. Yeah, and it's a surprising return there. And I- you know the action scenes of Falcon in the Avengers ensemble, like Avengers movies, is like pretty minimal. But here in the Falcon
Yeah.
and the Winter Soldier, it's you see it in full blown sequences. Like, wow, I was actually impressed. I was watching it with the fam here. and they're actually impressed with Sam, and I can't wait to see more of that because we're getting to see lots of that in the coming weeks, and I can't really wait to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, that sequence looks really reminded me of the Winter Soldier,
Yeah,
where Sam is fighting, shooting at the
like
helicarrier is very in that level. Also, I was also pretty surprised how much damage Sam was fucking wreaking upon all those fucking airplanes and terrorists. It's like he probably murdered like 50 or 30 terrorists or some shit.
Yeah.
yeah, and another important thing that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier showed is how Avengers got paid, right?
Yeah.
Because we know Sam has contracts, government contracts, because he's a superhero after all.
Can I say something? Isn't that weird
Yeah,
considering that he went against the Sokovia Accords? He's now working for the government. It's not kind
really
of
weird.
odd.
Right? Like it's
Yeah,
like it's yeah, go.
I was gonna say some of the politics of the show. I'm worried that they're gonna like brush over it. Like
Mm,
the Sokovia Accords, the crimes against that, Bucky's crimes as the Winter Soldier. I feel like a lot of these things get brushed off screen. Like we learned that Bucky got pardoned by the U.S. government. Like for what? For the Sokovia Accords, for breaking the Accords, or for his hundreds of war crimes against fucking the world. I do wonder what exactly the nuances are for something like this.
mm,
Obviously, they saved the world, blah blah blah. They did all that, but for Bucky, he has a lot of fucking sins against humanity. So I do wonder if that part is specifically for the Accords. That's why Sam is like back to normal, or if it's for something else.
Yeah, and make no mistake, the government gave him pardon, like gave Bucky pardon.
Yeah.
So I guess we're gonna find out more details about that. Who
Oh,
I hope
what's the
so.
process?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the process? Or before Steve time travel, did Steve vouch for him like that?
yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
Gonna-
imagine if that's how Falcon gave away the shield. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah.
yeah, we're talking about Sam's decision here. Let's talk about that. It's gonna start an interesting conversation about that. Sam, from the end of Endgame, he mentioned that it feels like it's someone else's when Steve gave him the shield. Do you think that Sam made the right choice of giving up the shield? And what do you think will Steve think about that wherever he is? I'll start with you, Joe.
Uh, uh, it's easy to say, oh no, it was the wrong choice because obviously the government screwed him over and used it for some random other guy.
Mhm.
But I kind of think, in a way, what makes this so interesting is that it's so in character for Sam. Like I like just imagine the person you've been looking up to, someone you consider your best friend, and they all that legacy, all that weight. Like we're not talking about taking over a position at a company. You're talking about a icon of Americana that was thrust upon him during World War II, and then he shows up and says, "Hey, can you continue this legacy?" It's not an easy decision. I think for Sam, we just obviously see he's not ready for it, and it makes it so much more interesting as a character development of him to accept, because he's kind of hanging on to that Falcon as well. It's a hard decision to make. I think for Sam as a character, it was a noble decision because he Indiana Jones it and said that belongs to a museum.
Yeah.
Long term, probably, I think someone's going to take on the shield long term. But I think for him as a character, that was such a great non-legacy move. Is not just, oh, thank you, I will become Captain America instantly, but actually a decision being made surrounding that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Charles, how about you?
I actually think that Sam. I think he probably at one point like thought like, oh, you know what? I think I can do this. But then I feel
Mm,
like when he surrenders the shield, that white guy he's talking to says, "You did the right decision." So it makes me like wonder Was he coerced into fucking giving that shield? Because
Mm.
they seemed pretty prepared to bring out U.S. agent like a day after Sam surrendered the shield. So was that like a long conversation with the government? Like, hey Sam, here's why we think you should surrender that because blah blah blah. And maybe Sam's like, yeah, you're right. Oh my god, you know what? Yeah, I might not be worthy of this because you guys are making a good argument for me not to use it. I wonder if it's a matter of that or if it's just like Sam saying, yeah, I don't want it because there is like so many implications as far as what a how the fuck did they ready John Walker a day after Sam surrendered the shield? That must have been in the works for some time. So
Yeah.
I wonder, if Sam was fucking, double crossed into giving that shield. That's why when he sees John Walker at the end, he's like, man, what the fuck? I,
Mhm.
it's like he made a face that was like, I can't believe I fell for that.
Yeah. And the trailers actually show that he will somehow get it back. But what's interesting is how does he get it back, right?
Yeah. I'm kind of annoyed. That shot is so iconic for the trailer, but the fact that this happens so early is like, oh, we know he gets it back kind of sucks in my opinion. Maybe a
Yeah.
little controversial because I kind of wanted that to be a will he get it back at all should be like the big question we're asking throughout the show. But we kind of know, and that's kind of a missed opportunity. But at the same time, I get why because that's kind of like the selling point of the series to begin with. So they couldn't really just go, oh, he gives it away and doesn't get it back. The question is how now that they changed it to how and why does it end back in his arms and what happens to this John Walker guy, and that's a different question that's interesting, just not as interesting as I think it could have been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder if that scenes in those scenes in the trailer where he has the shield. I wonder if that's the end.
I
Like
think so too, yeah.
Uh,
because these trailers have sneakily put in some of the final scenes in the like WandaVision. We see in the trailer where Vision and Wanda are talking about their home. They gotta defend it. That's clearly the fucking last episode. I wonder if those scenes with Sam practicing the shield is like the ending where he's like, "Yeah, I'm fucking Captain America now."
mhm. It's pretty interesting. Knowing Marvel for secrets, no, that their secrecy, it's gonna be make sense. Like, can't wait to find out in the next week or so. And and when you realize that, I was actually surprised. I mean, this early on that James Rhodes was there.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought he was gonna be
Mhm.
like episode 4 or 5 or I don't know. And he has a pretty interesting question for Sam. He asked Sam, "Why didn't you take on the mantle?" Like, oh, that's a big question, right? Because do you think, based on that, like based on his appearance here, because he's somewhat like a mentor, right? Like a mentor role here. Um, do you think there's a chance that Sam will show up in Armor Wars because of that one scene?
oh,
Ooh,
Yeah,
ooh.
I
there's
could see
deep
it.
connection. Charles?
Yeah, I could see it happening because, like you said, I mean, Rhodey of all people should know what it's like to fucking live in the shadow of,
Yeah.
a more fucking, I guess, popular or more, I guess, impactful character like Iron Man or Captain America. Rhodey knows what it's like to be second fiddle to Iron Man. So yeah, I kind of wish now Sam shows up in Armor Wars because it feels like a very very logical project for him to show up in because it's very
Yeah.
military heavy. I think that's very very much in his wheelhouse because he is after all part of the Air Force like Rhodey. So yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah, me too. Joe?
I think it would be great. I think that from all we know, that is the only series that makes sense for Bucky or Sam to show up again because everything else seems a little more disconnected from the rest. Uh, I wonder if we're going to get more of Rhodey in this season. I think he's not. This wasn't the only time we saw him. Because it also opens up the question to me is like this whole thing about Captain America, the mantle being taken over. We learned that, this is 6 months in. So 2 months later, people are asking Spider-Man if he'll be the next Iron Man. No one asked Rhodey. And that's, I find quite interesting because he's in a similar position. Technically, and in the comic, he technically would be able to take on that next role. So I find that parallel between the two kind of perfect for this first episode, because that's how I kind of saw it as like two characters with very different mindsets looking at kind of the same dilemma in their heroic life, let's say.
Yeah, future Cap and a future Iron Man. I mean, yeah, like the symbol, of course, because War Machine is already War Machine has its own, but the the man who's ready to take next step as Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's now talk another interesting topic here about Steve Rogers. The whereabouts of Steve Rogers
yeah.
has been discussed in the show. Joaquin Torres asked. He predicted that he's
On the
actually in the secret moon base. Moon. There's so many conspiracy theories running around, and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is the show that would make sense that would show how or answer the question of where Steve is, like, or is he still alive? So I'm gonna ask you an interesting question here. Um, what do you think happened to Steve after Endgame? I'm gonna answer it first for you guys. I think that Steve went back to his to the alternate timeline where his life with Peggy. I think he went back there. That's my theory. My running theory. After episode 1, it could change in the next few episodes because of the hints, of course. Uh, Charles, how about you?
Yeah, I think it's that. That's the most logical one. He probably has a wife. He has obviously he has a wife there, but he probably has a bunch of kids with Peggy there. I feel like he'd want to, you know, be with his family in his final moments. Like I said, he doesn't have anyone in the other in the main timeline. Maybe Bucky, but Bucky, Bucky has his own thing. They've said their goodbyes already. I feel like Steve would like to be with that family he has in that other timeline. Like I kind of hope that they don't flat out say in the show. I hope they keep it kind of vague, keep us
Mhm.
sort of guessing, not make it definite, but give us enough to sort of paint that picture in our head, because it's a very very nice idea that Steve fucking dies with his grandkids, his kids, with his family, because he grew up an orphan and finally he has a family. It feels like a very very nice ending for him.
Yeah, I agree. Joe?
Uh, I think it's kind of ironic that this, considering how WandaVision was, that this kind of line found its way here, even though it was supposed to release first. In some way, it does feel like a setup. I will say that they're kind of setting up that there will be some kind of answer on that. But in general, I do wonder what the focus will be or what the future means for Captain America. And I agree with Charles. I think where he is in his life, he would rather spend it with his family and just kind of go out on his own terms. And I think that was the best move in that regard. Though I find the irony of us all believing that Sam was attending a funeral really interesting.
Yeah, we had that theory back then.
I
Also
got my
Twitter.
theory right. I got my
Yeah.
theory right. I was like, maybe that's the scene where he gives up the shield, because I don't see them having a fucking funeral for Captain America here. Feels like a very although I guess it makes sense, but I don't know. I felt like I always felt like that a funeral or any sort of explicit confirmation of what happens to Cap feels like a disservice to I guess the mystery. I mean, if you want to have a mystery here, that would be a good mystery to make, because
Yeah.
I think it's also a fun idea for people to, I guess, make up conspiracy theories on what happened to Cap. I wonder what the other conspiracy theories are out there. Like, he's in the moon. I wonder if there's going to be like a conspiracy theory where he's actually a Skrull or some shit like that.
Ooh.
Twitter is going to have that.
Mm.
I actually, it makes me wonder though. Wasn't the shield? So that's the thing. He took there was the broken shield that was never fixed, and he had a fixed shield. Like that's a question I want answered. Where did the shield come from? Because wasn't it
Yeah.
busted? And then he went back with the hammer without the shield, and then he comes back with the shield. It's like, where did that come from? What happened to the? Because that's the thing. Like they could literally turn the old broken shield into a new one that's just not as strong if they want to like continue U.S. Agent or something. So I would like for that to have an influence on the story moving forward.
I wonder what
Yeah,
happened to that broken shield.
Yeah.
Is it
yeah.
like in a private Avengers sort of a trophy room where Cap's actual fucking shield from that universe is? Like, I wonder what happened to it. Imagine if that shield ends up on the black market, and then holy shit, why are there two fucking Captain America shields? And then a fucking the
Yeah.
conspiracy grows.
That would
Yeah.
be really interesting.
It'll be interesting to find out if there will be more than one shield in the next few episodes, right? It's gonna be something else. Let's talk about you saw a short glimpse of the Flag Smashers. The villains. Well, there's so many villains in this show. The villains of the show. And what are your initial impression for the Flag Smashers there, Charles?
I thought they were pretty cool. I was first confused why they had an app um, that looked like Pokemon Go. That sort of threw me off for a bit, but then Joe linked to me an article about how activists are starting to sort of delve into that sort of augmented reality tech to sort of further their cause. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, then I guess it kind of works. I do wonder what their thing is here because like I'm pretty sure they're like all fucking radicalization stuff. Like
uh,
you want your cause to be very very attractive. Like when they do that bank robbery in Switzerland, a bunch of people who want to join the cause show up. But of course, once they fucking steal the thing, everyone gets fucking arrested. That
Yeah,
clearly was their intention in the first place. They wanted a lot of people to show up, have the same mask, so the cops would end up arresting the wrong people. So clearly, the flag smashers aren't as noble as other people think they are. Clearly they have very very sinister methods of as sinister methods in like doing furthering their cause. So I wonder what their end game is here, what their true end game is here, because
mm,
I'm pretty sure they're fucking mean too. Because we see the flag smasher beat up Joaquin Torres,
yeah,
and so I mean, what's up? I don't know. I'm curious.
very curious, and they're really powerful. Like they're really strong. Like is the soldier serum involved there? I guess we'll find out.
hmm.
The power broker theory that you guys posted. Oh, it's gonna be interesting. Joe, initial impression for the Flag Smashers? Want to hear your thoughts?
I find it interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of their design overall.
Yeah.
I it's kind of like it's a little bit mundane, I'll say, but I think it fits the what they're going for. It's just that I loved Ultimatum. It was like kind of this weird group of bad guys that just existed in the universe. They even had their own helicarrier, and I'm kind of sad that it feels like they're like, okay, let's turn them into like these activists kind of thing. But it's growing on. I think the logo looks great. I think I'm a little sad they're not called Ultimatum. They're just all called Flag Smasher. I think it serves the greater purpose of them kind of not giving away who is who is the actual leader or who's the actual thing that brought them together. I'm excited to see where they go with it. I still think there's a chance that it might turn into Ultimatum. I would love for that to happen because I think the Marvel Universe kind of has a problem with its organizations existing but not for long. And that's kind of like a cool thing about the game or also the comics is that like AIM is always there,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't do anything with that. You know, Hydra was gone after World War One. Then they showed up in Winter Soldier, and that was it. And I kind of hope that they start doing more with these organizations moving forward.
I agree. And Kevin Feige did point out that the shadowy organizations are always going to be there in the MCU. So I guess we'll see some of them here in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So about the ending. The ending where the government announced that John Walker is the new Captain America. Without watching the next 5 episodes, I have a question for you guys because personally, I think I'll have that later. Do you think that after the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the U.S. agent or John Walker will show up in a future MCU project? I personally think no. That's me. That's on me because just here. It's like a Tyler Hayward situation. I don't know. Uh, I'll start with you, Joe.
A future for John Walker. I'll say yes. I really like the concept of an evil. We don't know if he's evil. He could just be misguided. Whatever direction they're going with his character, 100%, we do not know. But I do think that he would be a perfect character to use because I think we're seeing a direction with Marvel Studios is that they're learning not to kill off their villains instantly. They're kind of I think Thanos, yeah, he kind of is gone, but they still kind of left the door open with him potentially returning because he's dusted. So, like humanity, there is a chance he could come back in some way or form. But like with Hayward, he survived spoilers for WandaVision. Who cares about Hayward? Someone else there survives. And the thing is that that's kind of the thing. What I want them to do is like keep these characters, kill the ones that are kill off if it's required, but keep a door open for some because I still think that John Walker has a future with a potential Thunderbolts spinoff. That's kind of where I see him going personally.
Yeah, Thunderbolts. Interesting choice. Charles, how about you?
Yeah, I hope he makes it. Part of me thinks he might even die. I hope he doesn't die. Because I feel like they could easily go that route where he's an asshole at first, and he redeems himself, and then he sacrifices himself, for the greater good, and then he becomes like the big hero there, while Sam is the like sort of the fucking left wing, lib pawn, while John Walker is like the hero, the all true blue American hero. I hope they don't do that because it seems like a very very I don't know. I just don't want John Walker to go that route. I hope he makes it like Joe said to a possible Thunderbolts project. But I actually didn't like that ending because it looked fucking bad. It looked pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Like compared to the rest of the episodes, it surprisingly looked really. I don't know. It was supposed to be the Capitol building, but it looked like a fucking you know like the entrance of a public library or some shit because it didn't look as nice as the rest of the episode. John Walker looks kind of goofy in that costume. The wink at the end. The wink at the
The
end didn't.
nose.
Yeah, the wink didn't work for me. Like he's winking at the camera. What the fuck? And just the way that reveal was shot wasn't as on par with the rest of the episode for me. So I'm not feeling that reveal so far. I know we're gonna get that the big football homecoming
Yeah.
celebration he has where that one shot we've seen in all the trailers. I'm sure we're gonna get something that's more grand, but this reveal was very very underwhelming for me.
I actually agree because um that reveal. It's like it. I agree with you, Charles, because it's not par with what was presented in the earlier parts of the episode. It's just like a random building and a random moment. But I guess they'll improve that. I think in the next episode or so because you mentioned it's the football scene. Joe?
I, I, I'll play devil's advocate. I kind of think it was deliberate
No.
because the whole thing about it is that governmental reveals aren't like huge things. They're not the kind of people to do pay money to have a guy run at a football stadium like the instant he's revealed first time. That's more to get people riled up. This kind of felt like a politician's way of announcing something through a press conference. And that's exactly what it was. And it's not perfect. I do agree that like I think the building they chose was a little awkward because it has like that weird angle because he's surrounded by walls. I think it would have been better if it was a bit more open.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's the building that kind of makes the shot a little awkward because when they look at the crowd, you don't see beyond those walls, so it looks like it's like 15 people there. I think that's kind of the issue where it is. It should have been like the shot with Superman in Batman v Superman with like this crowd of people there. That's what you would expect the announcement of the government's first Captain America to be. I do think that the point of what they're trying to do is that this was a last minute fixer-upper because they weren't sure if they're going to get the shield. Why do it now? Why do it now when they got the shield? Probably, we don't know the timeline. So this could be like days after, or even 1 or 2 days after he gave away the shield. They didn't want this. If they went all out with the reveal, that's just not how government or how general these PR stuff works. This was just pure, we have a new Captain America. Here he is. Okay, you go inside before you say something stupid. And then, I think the next episode will start with the football scene. That's my theory.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, same.
And that's why I think that this was deliberately simple to kind of be like, oh, here he is, because it makes you feel off about it, right? It makes you go, what's up with this? This is a little weird. Okay, the wink is kind of goofy. I will agree with that, but it kind of fits like this, like, oh, hello, wink. I do find it's funny how his nose just does not work with that mask. It's kind of odd. But I think we've seen shots, or at least I think we'll see shots of him much better with where I think it's the angle from below that just makes it look like that. It's shot weirdly, but to some degree, I think that a lot of it is deliberate to make us feel off about it. And if you look at the internet's reactions, they did exactly that. Lots of people kind of already know what direction he is as a character. And I think it served its purpose. It could have been better, absolutely. I think the location is a big problem here. But I do think some part of it was like, okay, let's make this feel off because it's not Captain America, and that just adds to that level of as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as me hating on fucking Joaquin Torres.
Oh.
I fucking hate Joaquin Torres here. He's pretty whack.
He's a weird character. They made him a little overly eager, didn't they?
Yeah.
Almost to a fault where he's kind of annoying.
But he's quite a following already, on what I saw.
I mean, he's a fucking handsome dude. He looks like who's that kid in the Good Place, the Filipino kid. He's handsome. So I could see like people standing him because he's a very I guess quote unquote likable sidekick. He has all the traits where he's eager, he's well intentioned, he's handsome and whatnot, but he's also a fucking dummy. I hate that he's a fucking dummy here. I hate it.
I love how he pulls his gun. In German, I think they're in Germany, right? Because they're speaking German. But he pulls his gun outside of his own jurisdiction. I don't know how the rules go here. It's like, you don't. Shut up.
So dumb, dude. It's so fucking dumb. It's like, dude, your job is to fucking infiltrate this anarchist group. You have the mask. You're in.
Yeah.
The police tried to arrest you, so they think you're part of it. You even try to beat up the cop because, to try to fit in. But as soon as he fucking catches up to the guy, he tries to fucking arrest him. Like, what the hell? You could have tailed him for more information. You could have helped the guy to get right into the operation that was the Flag Smashers. But he tried to arrest him. He wasn't even sure if he could arrest him.
Yeah.
And then he gets kicked in the face. Like, man, you're a fucking moron.
I mean, it's so deliberate. It's kind of funny. This is the first, like, sidekick cliche we've ever had in a Marvel film. Like, he's Bucky. He's like the Bucky from the comics when he was a kid, pretty much.
Yeah. Is he new in the military service? I think he's new.
I don't know. It's like
I think it is, yeah.
like when I first watched it, I told Charles like, why is Torres, who's like a fucking private here, who acts like a fucking private, first class private, why is he getting tasked to fucking chauffeur Sam Wilson in top secret missions? But then he's an intel officer, but he kind of seems like he's also new, but they
Yeah.
also don't address whether he's new or not. So I'm guessing he's not new because they would have addressed it if he was like a total newbie, first day on the job. But it kind of seems like he's at least been places because he goes from Tunisia, then he's in I think he's in Switzerland, Joe, not Germany. He's in
Oh, it
Switzerland.
was Switzerland, yeah.
Yeah, so he has money to fucking travel and be a spy, but he's like the worst spy. So I don't know exactly why he's so bad. He's so bad at his job. He even fucking
Mm.
sends a selfie to fucking Falcon, so he got beat up. Like why are you sending a selfie? You want Falcon to feel bad for you? You're a moron, dude.
Did you see he had a hashtag in his tweet too? It said hashtag important.
What?
Yeah,
I
if you
guess
look closely, it says hashtag important.
I know
Oh, man.
he's kind of annoying currently. I hope that they make it better. But I'm worried that he's my new Hayward, the character I hate all season. I hope he's not that, but I have a feeling he's gonna be.
He needs character development. The thing is what we see with a lot of Disney Plus shows is that they're very, very good at their main actors. Wanda,
Yes.
Vision, perfect. A lot of the actors that come from past shows, always well written. New ones getting introduced to the Disney Plus shows, it seems they rush it a little. They don't give us the full picture. Like Hayward was built up like he had some kind of like ulterior motive, but he didn't. He was just kind of like, okay, we need a killer. Then he randomly shoots at two kids, and we never really get a feeling for that. And that's kind of the only thing that I fear with the Disney Plus shows is that their focus is so much on the main characters, they sideline their supporting cast. And I hope that Torres gets a lot more development moving forward.
Yeah, totally agree. And we can all agree that Torres Stars moment is the least favorite moment moment of the episode. All right, we wrapped it up there. So we gotta go to score the ratings for this episode 1 of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. From 1 to 10, my rating is going to be 8 over 10. It has the moments, it has the action, it has this intimate character moments, and can't wait to find out more because it perfectly set up the storyline of Cap's legacy is going to be explored in the coming weeks. Charles, 1 to 10, what's your rating for this episode?
Probably an 8 or a 7.5, but I'm leaning towards 8 because the good definitely outweighs the bad for me. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with 8.
Okay, 8 over 10. 8
Yeah.
for me. Joe?
I might go 8.5. I think the character moments with Bucky, the kind of the life aspect of Bucky and Sam is really, really well done. It's very down to earth, and that just gives it like that little extra edge for me personally.
Yeah. Okay, so summarizing it, it's like an 8 over 10. Very good episode. And
Yeah.
will go up. As I recall in our WandaVision reviews, the score went up like in the 9 weeks we were talking about WandaVision. So
Yeah.
it's a good trend. How about you guys, our listeners? What's your score for the first episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier? You can tweet us at twitter.com/MCUExchange. You can also tweet me at twitter.com/AaronCino. And also, you can also follow Charles on Twitter.
You can follow me on Twitter at CFS Buganwapa.
You can also follow Joe on Twitter.
I'm at that Abel, THATABERL.
All right, that's about wraps it up for the 50th episode, guys. Come on, give it a round of applause. Woohoo! 50th
Yeah, oh my
episode.
god, yeah, 50. Wow. Holy shit. Woo.
Made it to 50. Wow, that's amazing. And
Here's
thank you
the
for
50 more.
yeah. Thank you for our listeners for tuning in, and hope everyone is safe. Till next time, bye.
Ah,
Till next time.